The final Sunday night showcase of this SFL regular season starts off with a South Division showdown. Two teams separated by less than 4 hours of highway meet for the second time this season with a ton of Texas-style postseason intrigue. For the Headhunters, it's win and they're in, while for the Toros, if they win, they still have a shot at the South Division title. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Stockyards in Fort Worth, Texas, alongside producer extraordinaire Cameron Irvine, our statistician Stephen Hacker and Zach Haldorf, and my partner Rochelle Colston. I'm Tim Hackett. You're watching the SFL presented by APM Music. Happy to have you with us. And Ray, there are so many things that could happen for these two teams here in Week 14, but you know that they'd prefer to just win tonight and put a lot of that other conversation to rest.
Fort Worth's in a very good position. They're in the playoffs no matter what. They're fighting for the division title, and they're also fighting for position. Houston, like you said, they have to win or have more issues. But if they win, they can still not make the playoffs, depending on what other teams follow their game scores tonight after this game. So it's just a watch and see for tonight.
Yeah,
really.
There's so much up in the air. Even after the result of this game, we'll know some teams that are in, some teams that are not, but still 3 more games to come here on this Sunday evening, and there's a lot that will still be determined even after this game is done, even for both of these teams. Like you said, Ray, if Houston loses, it's not as easy as a lose and you're out at 6-6. Even if Houston loses against their crosstown rivals here, Fort Worth, they still might make the playoffs. And if Fort Worth loses, they're in for sure, but they could be anywhere in the postseason picture from the number 4 seed to the number 12 seed based on what they do and what others do here today. So it all comes down to this. Week 14 of 14, game number 12 of 12, the second meeting this season between the Fort Worth Toros and the newly rebranded Houston Headhunters. Fort Worth will get the ball to start off, and we are underway in Week 14 of Season 19 of the SFL. Fort Worth Toros on offense have gone through a lot of changes over the last couple of seasons. Of course, most notably this offseason, they bring in Marcus Dunhill, the veteran quarterback, former SFL champion with the Atlanta Swarm. He retired, and then he unretired and joined Jacksonville, and now he's with Fort Worth, his first season with the Toros, and it's been kind of a middling season for the SFL Hall of Famer. Still 12th in the league with a quarterback rating of 82. They will go on the ground to Jason Williams. Spin move for Jason Williams. Something that's happened quite a bit this season, Ray. A carry for J. Will and a gain of 4.
Yeah, Fort Worth seems to quote not just Acario, they live or die by him. They're gonna ride him through the whole entire game, get him started early, and hopefully he has a great night.
Jason Williams is 5th in the SFL in carries with 243, 13th in yards, though, so an average of 4.2, which is right in the middle of the pack. He gets the give on the first play. Dunhill now to throw, looking this way to the sideline. That is caught. Nice gain and a first down for Fort Worth for Cade Stevens, who is in the midst of a killer season.
I like this little bit of mix of plays here so far. They're not just relying on Williams, they're using their receivers, and hopefully we'll see a lot of Robert Gary Jr. tonight, too.
Cade Stevens now over 900 receiving yards this season, close to a career year. His best season since his rookie season back in Season 9 with Vancouver. Williams again with the run, and he runs into traffic that time. Great tackle behind the line by linebacker Keenan Samuels.
Yeah, and that was a run up the middle. I really don't like seeing this from Williams. I'd rather see him bounce the ball to the outside. He becomes explosive and very elusive on the outside. When he runs to the outside of the field.
Keenan Samuels now a veteran and a journeyman linebacker. His 4th total season. Played with St. Louis last year. Now the Headhunters this season, and the team's leader in tackles is an outside backer. He'll toss it out. Williams gets the catch that time, and again he gets stuck again by Keenan Samuels. He gets the yardage that he lost. Williams catches the ball quite a bit as well this season, Rochelle.
Yeah, he's a dual threat, definitely. They like to throw to him on a little outright, run him up to the outside. He's a dual threat back.
5th in the league in carries, like we said. 14th in the league in catches. Not among running backs, among all players. That's catch number 80 this season. Good for a gain of 3. First third down for Fort Worth. Dunhill locks and loads into traffic. There are 3 Headhunters there, very well covered. Isabella Blackwell, the safety, was there. 4th down for Fort Worth.
Yeah, Houston leads. It's 4th in the league in interceptions, so they need to be careful throwing down the field with their cornerbacks.
They're also, Fort Worth is very good on third downs, converting north of 60% this season, but 0 for their first opportunity here this afternoon. Again, a win for Fort Worth, and they have a chance at the South Division title if Mexico City loses against Lone Star tonight.
You mentioned the earlier meeting of the season, and actually Houston beat Fort Worth 36-13 in Week 4.
It was part of the torrid start to the season for Houston. They started the year 4-1, and since then it's been a little bit of a slow go. They're 6-5 now, obviously. They've lost their last 2 games, including last time out against Jacksonville, a surprising loss to a Kings team that's nowhere near the playoff picture this year. So that has made this Week 14 game imperative for the Headhunters in their first season under this rebrand, formerly, of course, the Houston Hyenas. They need to win this game to get in, but if they lose, they still have a chance. Dave Burr will throw back across his body, and somehow Houston turns that into a decent gain. Part of the reason, Rochelle, that Houston has been so good this year is that guy, Mike St. Green.
Wow, and they had, I thought for sure that was going to be a sack. Somehow he managed to avoid getting tackled and managed to get a pass off. That's quite an impressive play there.
No doubt. And somehow that ended up a gain of 3. Bit of a generous spot for St. Green. His first season with the Headhunters and also joining the ownership crew here in the offseason. Big reason for the team's success. Burr will throw again. Out of the backfield, they will look for G.P. Wells, the sophomore tailback, who is in the midst of an excellent season, his best year running the ball, just his second season in the SFL, but they don't throw to him very much, at least not nearly as much as Sioux Falls threw to him last year as a rookie, and he gets a catch here on Houston's second play.
Yeah, I think Houston runs a more balanced offense. They use all their weapons, and they do have a franchise back, but just something like they use Williams on the Fort Worth.
So they give it to him. His first carry comes on 3rd down, and Wells is blown up. You got to look at E.K. Vincent, the veteran middle linebacker, before the play, 55 in the Fort Worth Blue, and he was there for a one-on-one stop against Wells, and it's 4th down.
And these teams match up pretty well, offensively and defensively, so it should be a really good game here tonight, Tim.
Fort Worth has one of the better rushing defenses in the league. Houston has one of the better rushing offenses in the league, at least in terms of scoring. And they come up short on their first 3rd down opportunity. Returnable here. Not much on that return for the Toros, who will start off their second possession from the 40. So let's meet the Fort Worth Toros on offense. For head coach Luis Gonzalez, Marcus Dunhill is the quarterback. Jason Williams is the lead tailback. Jay-Z Bacon, is the second tailback. Aaron Alexander is the fullback. Robert Garrett Jr. at tight end, and a trio of wide receivers: Stephen Hacker, Cade Stevens, and Charlie Baker. Second possession of the day for the Hall of Famer Marcus Dunhill. He'll toss it out this way. Cade Stevens has another catch. He is in bounds, and he now has a new career high in receiving yards with over 900. It's been a killer season for a league veteran.
It's the second time I've seen that play tonight, and it's working really well for them. Especially, 10 yards at a time. It's a great job.
His previous career high, 902 receiving yards as a rookie with the Vancouver Legion in Season 9. He also had 67 catches that season, so he needs another 10 today to match that. That's not likely to happen for him, but he's 1 touchdown away from matching that season's total of 6 as well, and a resurgent year for Stevens, who was the number 2 guy for years behind Stephen Hacker here for Fort Worth, but now starting to pick it up. Dunhill under pressure, gets hit, and loses the ball. It's picked up by an offensive lineman. And Fort Worth dodges serious danger. That's Cooper Ambrose, one of the tackles for this Toro team, Rochelle, and Alex Perez was the guy who forced it out.
Wow, when you're an offensive lineman, you're not used to having the ball in your hands. I'm surprised he even knew what to do with it.
Well, that's not something that happens very often. Teams do not fumble all that much here in the SFL. Jason Williams is actually one of the league's leaders in fumbles with 2. And a rare potential giveaway there from Dunhill, but Cooper Ambrose is not a name we expected to say very much. And he makes a huge play. Loss of 13. Now Dunhill tries to get it all back and gives it all away. Interception, another one for this great Houston takeaway defense, and they will have the ball in plus territory. Isabella Blackwell has her 7th.
That's kind of a glaring stat to me. The TO differential for Houston and Fort Worth. Houston has 12, positive 12, and Fort Worth negative 10. So, Houston's very known for the interceptions here. They need to be more careful with the ball.
It's been something they've been great at for years under DeMond Simeon's leadership. Obviously, the great wide receiver has had great secondaries as well, teams that can take the ball away. They've been in the top 5 in takeaways in 5 of the last 6 seasons. That includes this season where they're 5th with 36 total takeaways, including now 33 picks. Dave Burr from the 45. GP Wells on the toss, the spin, and across the 40-yard line for a gain of 5.
I like that we're seeing Wells, early in this game. Usually he doesn't have that many touches during the game, so they can get him going. It'll be a positive thing for Houston.
He only averages 122 total yards for Wells. Again, he's had a career season rushing the ball. About 200 more rushing yards this season than last year, but a third of the receiving yards that he had last year as a rookie. They'll run it here, and Fort Worth ready for that one. Blown up is Wells by J.L. Browning, the veteran outside linebacker.
Defense was ready for Wells that time for sure. When they had caught him in the backfield, there was just no place for him to go.
Super efficient running back this year. He's 20th in carries, but 7th in rushing yards with over 1,100. 3rd in the league in rushing average before action this week, 6.3, but not been able to do very much on the ground so far. And another 3rd down here for Houston. Burr, quick throw into traffic and dropped. Could have been picked by 2 different Toros. St. Green on the target. Great coverage by Nacho Sicario, and it's another 4th down.
They're very, very lucky that was an interception. There was literally 4 defenders in the area, and it wasn't a perfect throw. Lucky to have that one back.
You're right about the turnover differential for these two teams, Rochelle. The turnover differential has been a hallmark of Fort Worth when they've been successful the last couple of years, but it's not been very good so far this year. They're -1, obviously, this afternoon, but that turnover doesn't hurt them. Short punt from Ron Foster and a fair catch called for at the 15 by Charlie Baker. And Fort Worth, Rochelle, able to lock it in. After that interception, they force a 3-and-outs. Houston starts at the 45. They barely move the ball.
Right, I mean, if you're Houston, you need to take advantage of that. You get an interception, you've got to get points. Especially if you're playing Fort Worth today. They've been on like a tear the last 6 weeks. I mean, they lost 1 game out of 5.
Houston, one of the best scoring teams in the SFL, not able to do anything with the first down from the 45. And so Marcus Dunhill takes over for the 3rd time from his own 15. Jason Williams gets the carry and gets stuck right at the line. Great tackle by Tom Tanner.
If Houston, doing a good job so far containing Williams, that's a big stop there for them.
One of the best defensive lines in the SFL, which has not always been the case for this Houston team. We mentioned their secondary knows how to take the ball away. That's been the case for seasons on end. Not the case on the defensive line. They're one of the best sacking teams in the SFL. So Dunhill will have to throw it out. Williams with the catch and the spin move for Jason Williams. He dips into the time machine and picks up 14.
And that's where Jason Williams is at his best. When he runs to the outside, he's very elusive. He can spin his way out of tackles. He can run over people. That's Williams at his best.
It is 9th season as a back in this league. Now his 5th season as the starting tailback for the Toros. Something that he is known for is that spin move. They call him Thrilliams because of the action that he always puts in when he's on the field. He's off the field now. Josh Rowe, the standout safety, made that tackle for the Headhunters. Empty set here for Marcus Dunhill. Has all day. Throws over the middle. First down and a whole lot more. Great catch and a big gain for Mike Caker, the number 4 wide receiver for the Toros. They're across midfield.
Wow, and the O-line just gave Marcus Dunhill all day to look downfield to find his wide open receiver, and a perfect throw by Dunhill there.
The first time that Mike Caker has made a big catch in his Fort Worth career. Not another name we weren't expecting to say quite a bit. Fort Worth across into enemy territory for the first time. Dunhill takes his time. Here's Williams again. You know what happened last time? Ooh, similar results for Jason Williams and a gain of 4. Zed Markov with the tackle.
And Fort Worth definitely has a plan here. I mean, I haven't seen except for that one big play down the middle of the field. I'm more looking forward to seeing Hacker down the field.
We haven't seen Stephen Hacker at all, and Fort Worth has spread the ball around a lot more than they used to. Used to be Stephen Hacker and Robert Garrett, and then kind of everybody else. But this year, Cade Stevens has taken on a bigger role. As we mentioned, he's the team's leading receiver now with over 900 yards. Dunhill into the basket, perfect throw, and there is the veteran, Robert Garrett Jr., close to 600 receiving yards now for the Cowboy.
I knew it wouldn't be long before we saw Garrett here tonight. I mean, when you have tight end on linebacker, your tight end's going to win. He was right up in the middle of the field.
But that throw, just a little bit behind him, a sidearm toss from Dunhill, but right where it needed to be behind the backers, like you said. Only 2 receiving touchdowns this season for RG2. But now close to 600 receiving yards. That one goes for a gain of 18. They'll run it. Williams left tackle into traffic, and another nice gain of 4 to start things off for Thrilliums. Here's the Houston defense. Defensive line, we mentioned they are good. Alex Perez, Tom Tanner, KT Slayer, and Butch Menner. Linebackers Jason Peace, Keenan Samuels, and Zed Markov. And in the secondary, there are 4 cornerbacks. Corey Menner, Kai Cash, Dedrick Law, and Angel Maldonado. And 2 safeties, Isabella Blackwell and Josh Rowe, one of the league standouts. From the 23, Williams, nothing doing that time. Nice stop. Couple of players there, including KT Slayer.
That time they had Williams, they plugged the holes and Williams down the line of scrimmage, basically.
Everybody on this defensive line has at least 10 tackles for loss. It's crazy this season. Everybody has at least 6 sacks. Slayer has the worst season with 6 sacks and 10 TFLs, which is a great year. On third down, Dunhill up high and high-pointed by Cade Stevens. His 3rd catch of the first quarter, and that takes Fort Worth to the 11.
And that play was well defended there. Marcus Dunhill had a perfect throw. Houston also leads the league in passes defended with 79.
Give up a ton of yards through the air, a ton of touchdowns, but they take the ball away as well as any team in this league. Need one here, you think. Williams out of the backfield, spin move, and stopped short of the line to gain. Another tackle for Keenan Samuels, Headhunters leader in tackles. It's been Samuels against Williams a lot so far tonight. Gain of 9.
Fort Worth is now knocking on the door of the end zone on the 2-yard line. Let's see if we see Williams here again.
Remember, Fort Worth has 3 star tailbacks, including Jay-Z Bacon. They will give it. Williams, touchdown, Toros. Jason Williams has his 10th rushing touchdown. He's been big this first quarter, and the Toros' quest for a division title starts with 6 points.
And kudos to the O-line, they created a hole for him. He just walked through it and worked himself right into the end zone. Shed 1 tackle in the process.
Fullback Aaron Alexander was there to lead the way. You mentioned the offensive line, Rochelle. We've already heard from Cooper Ambrose in this game, but neither of these teams roster a star offensive lineman. In fact, here's a sneak preview for tonight. Nobody in this division, none of the 4 teams, roster a star offensive lineman, and still you're looking at 4 of the best offensive line groups in the league. It's crazy. Neither of these teams allow a ton of sacks. They both run the ball quite well, which is just, minus 1 point for the offensive line fans in this league, which you and I are parts of. And it's just crazy to see how well these 2 teams can avoid sacks, run the ball effectively, and run the ball a lot, even without any standouts on the O-line.
And they both have fullbacks, which helps them blocking for your runners. And I guess their halfbacks do a great job of following their fullbacks down the field.
No doubt. That helps a ton, having the fullbacks out there, especially one like Aaron Alexander. Small guy, one of the smallest guys in the SFL, but a great blocker. Houston now trailing 7-0. As Rochelle mentioned, when these 2 teams played earlier this year, it was all Houston. They won that game 36-13. They picked off Marcus Dunhill 5 times in that game. No offensive touchdowns for the Toros in that game, so they've already bested their total back from week 4, part of when Houston kind of took the league by storm. Again, they started the year 4-1. Right now they're 6-5, and if they lose this game, they might well miss out on the playoffs. GP Wells runs up the middle. Nice run and a gain of 7 for GP Wells.
I said before, it's good that Houston's getting GP Wells going. I think it's going to be a game changer for them.
Well, I want to make a correction, something I said earlier. Fort Worth does have a standout on the offensive line. That is my mistake. It's Frank Burks, the left guard. He was a rookie. He was their first-round pick this year, so that's my mistake. But he is their only standout on the offensive line. So 1 among these 4 teams. So my mistake there, and a correction, apology to Frank Burks, who leads the way for Jason Williams to get into the end zone. And that is the first touchdown of the day. Fort Worth 7, Houston no score. SFL presented by APM Music live on YouTube.
Oh, that's the end of the first quarter. That was very quick.
Hey, don't say that out loud. Don't say that out loud. First rule of the game, never talk about the speed of the game. But it was a speedy first quarter with Fort Worth on top 7-0. Dave Berg trying to change that. What a throw and what a catch. One-on-one coverage out to the 45-yard line. Mike St. Green with another big catch.
Mike St. Green has really showed up today. We haven't even heard DR Sim's name called yet.
No, they've been going to St. Green a lot, and it's been... For this Houston offense this year, Ray, it has been MSG plus DRS. That has been the offense. Those two guys have combined for almost all of the yards and touchdowns that Dave Burr has thrown. He tries to throw that one in. Same play that we saw earlier, a shallow cross with Mike St. Green, and that nearly got picked off.
Mike St. Green literally got his head taken off there, too.
Hopefully not literally. Hit
Big
by
hit
J.L.
by
Brown.
Sicario there.
Yep. Sicario nearly had the pick. Saw that earlier from him. Veteran corner. Now the number 2 corner on this team behind Adam Leach. And he and Stephen Hacker have been longtime friends, longtime teammates, longtime ownership duo here for Fort Worth, trying to get them back to the playoffs after 2 dismal seasons where they combined for 7 wins over the last 2 years. Already 7 wins banked here this season. Burr, right into the hands. There he goes. Sicario atones right into his hands. He was going for DR Sim that time, and Nacho has his 6th pick of the season.
Yeah, I think the ball was just a little bit underthrown. Sicario's in the perfect place, standing right in front of the receiver at that point. He met with a pick.
24th interception this season for Burr. Both quarterbacks now have giveaways. It's been a problem for Dunhill this season. Again, we mentioned it, 5 interceptions when these teams last met. Already thrown 1, but Williams helps get them onto the scoreboard. Now Fort Worth will start off from their own 45. Williams blown up in the backfield. Great stop. Another TFL for this headhunter team. It's Zed Markov leading the way.
Another run up the middle that doesn't work for Fort Worth there. Great job by the Houston defense to plug the holes.
Here's a look at Alex Perez, who's the team leader in sacks and TFLs. 10.5 sacks, 16 tackles for loss. Both of those are top 10 in the SFL for a guy who used to be this team's middle linebacker. Loss of 2. Dunhill, deep bomb, and knocked away again by Isabella Blackwell. Couple of breakups and a pick for the sophomore safety.
And Robert Gary Jr. was in the area, but nowhere near the ball. I think the same with Stephen Hacker. I'm not sure that ball was just the defense, basically.
Well, spent her rookie season with the San Diego Mavericks and has come over here to Houston to join a somewhat revamped secondary. A lot of new players out there to join the holdover Josh Rowe. Empty set on 3rd down. Dunhill runs right into the rush of Tom Tanner. He's got double-digit sacks now this season. Another loss on this series for Fort Worth. They do have that one standout offensive lineman, and he was powerless to stop Tom Tanner that time.
We go from 3rd and long to 4th and longer.
Not the first time either of these teams has seen nearly a 20 on that line score down at the bottom right. Another punch from Ray Einhorn. Returnable now, though, for Greg Corky, who will call for the fair catch, and Houston will start off now from the 34. If you're new to the SFL here in Week 14 of our season, this is the Simulation Football League. That's what an acronym does. It combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game all into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. Dave Burr trying to shake off that interception, nearly threw another one. Swatted up by Delaney Nash, the veteran safety. Sim had a step, Ray, but Nash able to do just enough.
I think the ball was just a little bit underthrown there, Tim. I mean, what was just happening to their defenders in the right place at the right time tonight?
Always nice to have DR Sim as your top target, the league's all-time leader in receptions, receiving yards. The list goes on. He's held without a catch so far here this afternoon, though he's been a little bit more involved here lately. GP Wells on the give. Left tackle and spins into the thick of the defense. Vincent on the stop. Here is the Houston offense. Burr is the quarterback. Wells is the tailback. John McCool is the fullback. Bit of a differently constructed offense than Fort Worth. They've got 2 standout tight ends and 4 wide receivers. Dan Curtis and Talon Steele, the tight ends, and the wideouts DR Sim, Mike St. Green, Greg Corky, and Isaiah King the 4th. 3rd down and 5 for a team that's converted just 50% on 3rd down this season. They'll run it. Wells breaks through the first wave, and Delaney Nash helps bring him down a yard short. Luther Gond there as well. There is Delaney Nash, and it's another 4th down for Houston.
Oh, listen, Houston's not doing really well on offense. It's the 3rd 3 and out, in a row. They're struggling on offense and to get it going.
Yep, they're 0 of 3 on 3rd down so far in this game. One of the best scoring offenses in the league. Goose egg so far. You see the over-under set at 60. Maybe not a surprise based on the result of the previous matchup between these two teams, but so far a defensive showcase. Well, if you're just joining us or if you missed out on the scenario show that Rochelle Colson was part of in the SFL late last night, we'll have Ray kind of go more in depth because you know better than me about some of these situations, Rochelle. But I kind of figure that going into this, the final day of the regular season with 4 games on tap, I figure we might have some total chaos where teams would be waiting from the wings, and there is some of that to be sure. But honestly, in this matchup, there's not that much nuance as Dunhill throws over the middle, wide open into traffic, and a big gain out across the 45-yard line to Robert Garrett Jr.
Yeah, I mean, Fort Worth is definitely in. And the real funny thing is all 4 South Division teams play today. So there's still, the division title on the line for the South Division. Fort Worth's in the mix. They win, they could have the title. It depends on so many other games following this game, though, especially for Houston. If Houston doesn't win, it gets kind of crazy for them.
Yeah, I was just saying there's nothing as clear-cut as if a team loses, then they're out for good. So if Houston loses, they'd be 6-6. They're likely out, but it's no guarantee. They could still get in if certain other things shake out in their favor. Big gain for Garrett, and a toss out here to Williams. And a couple of spins for Jason Williams, and a gain of 9. That's the 3rd or 4th time already in this game we've seen him shake out a play like that. Jason Peace on the stop.
When you think you have him down and tackle, he just spins right out of it. It's amazing.
It's unbelievable some of the things he's able to pull out of his bag of tricks. It's 2 yards per carry, but better than 7 yards per catch so far here this afternoon. They'll run it on 2nd and short. Williams right tackle, that'll help the average. 1st down out to the 36.
He has some great blocking and quick. He shot out of a cannon that time. Once he starts going forward, look out.
Josh Rowe with another tackle to bring him down. Well, going back to what we were talking about the scenarios, Rochelle, it's easy for Houston. If they win, they're in for good. Like we said, if they lose, they're 6-6 and likely out, but not a guarantee. For Fort Worth, they are the most volatile of all the teams that are playing today, and I mean that in a good way, because like Rochelle said, Fort Worth has already locked up a playoff bid, even if they lose today. But we'll more on that in a second as Dunhill throws. Nice catch out to the 20-yard line. 16 yards for number 16. Cade Stevens is cooking.
Yeah, but we're hearing his name just as much as we're hearing Williams tonight. So, I mean, they're mixing it up here for sure.
It's a new longest catch for Cade today. That's his average. He averages 16.1 yards per catch. That is 8th best in the league. He's top 20 in the league in receiving yards. And again, now over 900 on the season for the first time since season 9. Williams with a short gain. So Fort Worth, if they win this game and Mexico City loses tonight against Lone Star, Fort Worth would claim the division title outright by virtue of their win against the Aztecs earlier this season. Both teams would be 8-4 in that situation, but Fort Worth would have the head-to-head and therefore would win the South Division by winning today. But if Fort Worth loses today, they're still in the playoffs, but they could fall all the way down to the 12th seed. They could go anywhere from 4 to 12 based on results today. Dunhill to the end zone, and it's caught! Back of the end zone, Robert Garrett Jr. has his 3rd touchdown of the season. Fort Worth doubles the lead.
Wow, what a great route by Robert Garrett Jr. He split the defenders, was in the middle of them all by himself in the back of the end zone. And a rocket arm by, Marcus Dunhill there.
What a dot from Dunhill. Again, the Hall of Famer, he's thrown a ton of touchdowns over the course of his career. Former league champ. And what a throw that was. Amelia Rose for the PAT. Hold down from Jason Russell, and the kick from Rose is up and good. It's Williams, Dunhill, and Garrett. All of them combined to give the Toros a 14-0 lead over their crosstown rivals from Houston. Just about 4 hours south, give or take, of Fort Worth, the east side of Texas. Meeting for the second time today. I'm sorry, for the second time this season. It'd be crazy if it was the second time in one day. Second time this season, and the 8th all-time meeting between these two franchises. It's been dead even so far all time. Fort Worth has won 4 of the first 7. The home teams, Rochelle, have dominated this all-time series as Greg Corky gets to the 24. The home team has won 5 of the previous 7 meetings. Houston, obviously the road team today. Fort Worth is the only team that has won on the road. They've won twice on the road. Houston, 0 wins in their chances on the road against the Toros all time. So this, of course, would be the first road win for the Headhunters in this all-time series. Houston won earlier this year. That was at home.
Right. Yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to win on the road in this league. I mean, you have the home field advantage, you have your fans, you have the noise, you have the crowd involved, so it's tough. Any stadium in the SFL.
GP Wells has looked good catching the ball this afternoon. Gain of 8 there. Delaney Nash with the stick. You mentioned that Wells has caught about a third of the passes that he caught last year as a rookie with Sioux Falls, third of the receiving yards, but honestly, he had more total yards last year with Sioux Falls than he has so far here with Houston. He needs about 300 all-purpose yards today to beat his total from his rookie year, which is not likely for any running back. Wells will get 2, needed 2 there, and he got it. Tackle made by Sicario, and Wells doing well to move the chain so far.
That was pretty good there, Tim.
Thanks. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Well, slow day running for both of these teams. Remember, Wells' average is better than 6 yards per carry this season, under 3 per carry today. Burr hit as he throws, lofts it up, and it's brought down. DR Sim with a highlight reel catch, one of many in his career. One-on-one against Ben Stone, no problem.
And I knew it wouldn't be very long before we hear the name DR Sim. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a star receiver. He's running a great route and making a nice little dive to catch it.
First catch of the afternoon for Sim, who's in the top 25 in this league in catches, 4th in receiving yards with 1,215 before today. Double digits for him on that one. Houston across midfield, trailing by 14. Burr again will fire right sideline. St. Green with the step behind Delaney Nash. And Mike St. Green has his 8th receiving touchdown with his new team. Houston's right back in it.
Now, Sicario just watched him fly by him, really, and he got behind Sicario and Nash, and just perfect throw by Burr, and he's in the end zone.
Back-to-back big plays for Houston's 2 biggest players. 20 yards to DR Sim, 46 yards from Burr to Mike St. Green. These 2 guys have carried the passing game all season long for the Headhunters. Wells has been great on the ground, as we've outlined, but those 2 have been the 2 biggest players, bar none, in the passing game. PAT from Sonny J is good, and St. Green strikes again. Get this, Rochelle. Dave Burr has now thrown 17 touchdowns this season, 7 to DR Sim, 8 to Mike St. Green this season. 15 out of 17 of his touchdown passes to his top 2 wideouts. Greg Corky has the other 2. No one else has caught one from Dave Burr this season. They've combined for nearly 50% of Burr's completions, 2/3 of his yards, and all but 2 of his passing touchdowns this season. That is as good of a duo as exists in this league.
No kidding. And that time Houston comes out and scores in 4 plays. Quick scoring drive for them there.
And unsurprisingly, again, 50% of the completions on the season, just south of that, about 48% going to St. Green and Sim combined. So far today for Burr, 7 completions, 4 to St. Green and Sim. It's just over 50% in the early goings of this game. A quick strike Houston offense finally shakes out of a little bit of a schneid, and they're back in it. Williams trying to right the ship. Solid gain for him, give him 3.
Yeah, much rather for start. Yeah, like I said, the up the middle runs, he's getting 2 or 3 yards at a time, which is acceptable. But I mean, I'd rather see him go to the outside.
Houston secondary is brand new. So much change from the last couple of years, but also especially this offseason. You bring in Corey Menor, you bring in Isabella Blackwell. Kai Cash returned to the team last year to join Josh Rowe. Nice gain for Williams there, give him about 4. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Slayer makes that tackle, but it's just such a different looking Houston team from how it looked a couple of seasons ago. So DR Sim really reinvested in revamping this roster, if you'll pardon all of the R words, and you bring in a newcomer in Mike St. Green to help shape the ownership group, and Houston a win away from getting back to the postseason for the first time since season 15. 3rd and 2 for Williams. First down for Jason Williams. Shimmy step, gets the gain, move the sticks, Toros.
That time on defense, the linebacker stayed home. They plugged the holes, and then Williams bounced it to the outside and got the first down. Great blocking up front there.
Markov finally makes the stop. He's one of the longest tenured members of this Houston defense. His 3rd season, he's played every year with this franchise, but you have to look really hard to find players who've been on this team for 5 seasons or longer. Just a testament to how much Houston has had to reshape this team and the success they've had doing it. Dunhill lofts it up, one-handed catch across midfield. Wow, what a grab that was. Welcome to the league, Charlie Baker.
I was having trouble seeing the number at first. I thought it was Hacker, but like, nope, that's not Hacker. Nice grab.
Well, I figured for sure it was Stephen Hacker. We're used to seeing him pull down catches like that. How about Charlie Baker? 2nd season in the league. He's got a highlight reel catch. Fort Worth has a 7-point lead. This is the SFL presented by APM Music live on YouTube. Happy to have you with us this afternoon. The first of 4 potentially pivotal games on the final day of this SFL regular season. Dunhill has completed all but 3 of his passes. His one incompletion went for a pick, as Williams tries to stretch it out, nothing doing there. He's had 13 completions, Rochelle, and to your point a second ago, none of those 13 completions to Stephen Hacker, who ostensibly is their number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, it's a great job by the defense there to take Williams down for a loss.
Houston shifts. They bring 4 on the line. Again, they have 6 starters in the secondary. Not uncommon to see them bring all of them out. There's a nice catch, and right on cue, Stephen Hacker has his first grab of the day all the way out to the 30.
I was impressed with Hacker there making that catch and turning that field and getting the yards after the catch there before he brought down.
A heady play from the league veteran. His 8th total season, started his career in Queen City, and came over to join Fort Worth with Sicario. Now Dunhill under pressure. He's going to tuck it and run, and he slides for a first down. Unbelievable. Gain of 10 on a scramble for Marcus Dunhill.
You don't see that very often, Dunhill running the ball.
You never see that. In fact, I don't think, as he'll toss it out to Williams here. Gain of 4.5. Fort Worth in the hurry-up. They've got all 3 timeouts. 20 seconds in the half. Williams just now getting back. Dunhill will throw it again. Same play. Williams spins, stayed in bounds by spinning, and Corey Menor, the big offseason acquisition in the secondary, former standout with Charleston, makes that tackle, and the Toros will have to burn a timeout.
I think it was a wise call there to call a timeout. I mean, Williams is just taking his time getting to the backfield. They were just running the clock down.
I could count on one hand the number of times I've seen a quarterback run this season, Rochelle, designed or otherwise. And that is a gain of more than 10 for Marcus Dunhill. He says he's
never seen Dunhill run before.
Neither have I. And he's a Hall of Fame quarterback in this league. 3rd and 4 from the 15. Dunhill, more traditional that time, and a first down for the Toros. 2nd catch on this drive for Charlie Baker.
Oh, we haven't heard Baker all game now. We've heard him, twice in this drive. They're using all their offensive weapons at this point.
Yeah, Baker and Hacker are both getting involved after they didn't have any catches before this possession. Nothing doing for Stevens or Garrett. First and goal from the 5. Look at this formation from Houston. 5 on the line. Now they send extra pressure. Dunhill floats it to the end zone. Touchdown. Stephen Hacker. He's got his 6th, and the Toros strike again.
That toe drag swag there for my Hacker. I mean, he was right at the back of the end zone and to keep his feet in. Found himself wide open in the back of the end zone.
You called it well, Rochelle. You're used to covering plays like that as a safety in this league, and poor Corey Menor, again, a standout the last couple of seasons with the Charleston Predators. One-on-one against this league great, Stephen Hacker, and it was just the back of the end zone defending, and Hacker beats that back of the end zone easily. Second catch for the Hack. It's the Hacker to you. PAT good from Rose.
Pretty long drive there by Rose to kill them. Almost killed the second half totally with the clock there.
Yeah, to your point, that was right after that quick strike from Houston after they scored on, 4 plays? Ended up in that 46-yard touchdown from Burr to St. Green. And Fort Worth destroys nearly 4 minutes of game clock on their response. And only 20 seconds now for Greg Corky to work with. And they will get the ball to the 24. It's been about par for the course for Houston on the return game this year. Corky is one of the best returners in the league in terms of average, better than 25 yards per return. Top 10 in the league, but not a lot doing for him here. How aggressive does Damon Simeon and company get on offense here, Rochelle? They've got all 3 timeouts in 19 seconds.
I don't even know what to think at this point. They have 4 receivers on the field, so let's see what they do.
I'll try to stretch it to GP Wells. That might work. GP Wells gets stopped. What a tackle from Ben Stone. A touchdown-saving stop. No timeouts from Houston. They've got all 3. And they'll snap it with 4 seconds. They'll run it again to Wells. Good hits. And there is the timeouts by Houston with 1 second left. Doug Day with the hit stick for the Toros. And 2 big runs for GP Wells gets Houston into enemy territory on just 2 plays.
We're going to see a Hail Mary here?
It's in range now, isn't it? The 47?
I would think so.
29 yards on 2 runs for GP Wells, if my math is right. And somehow, after that weird mismanagement, at least that's what it appeared like, Houston has the opportunity to run a play with 1 second left. Remember, they've got 2 of the heaviest hitters, Sim and St. Green, as targets for Dave Burr. Shakes off the first hit, down he goes. Houston does not give up a ton of sacks this year, but they give up 1 on that Hail Mary attempt. Jeff Duffy is in there, one of the all-time league greats, with another sack to his total.
Most more of a coverage sack, I think. I mean, looking for his defenders looking for his receivers down the field. There's nobody open.
That's the end of the first half. How about this offense from the Toros? Everybody getting involved, Rochelle Colston, and 3 times the time of possession, nearly twice the yards. Williams, Garrett, Stephen Hacker all score, and the Toros with a 14-point lead trying to stay in contention to win this division.
Houston came with a game plan to stop Williams, and they're just enjoying the depth of receivers and the little runs there. So, I mean, Fort Worth's firing on all cylinders at this point.
Everybody has gotten involved. Dunhill's thrown 2 touchdown passes. All of their top targets have at least 2 catches. Mentioned 3 different players with touchdowns. They've really picked apart this Houston pass defense so far.
Yeah, how they regroup at halftime and see what the game plan is for the rest of the game.
Houston is pretty much an average team in a lot of defensive categories, but we mentioned how good they are at taking the ball away and their high turnover differential. It's 3rd in the league. That's even now because of the interception from Nacho Sicario. But 2 passing touchdowns for Marcus Dunhill. Houston has now allowed 28 passing touchdowns, 2 per game, obviously on average. 3rd highest mark in the league. And that has been an issue for them for years on end, it seems, Rochelle. They take the ball away, get a lot of interceptions, but give up a lot of passing yards and a lot of passing touchdowns. And So far today, that's been the case. And how about Dunhill rebounding? When these teams met in week 4, a lopsided Houston win. Dunhill threw no touchdowns and 5 picks. And today he's got 2 touchdowns already.
Yeah, kudos to Dunhill for, shaking that game off and coming here with a clear head and taking his team down the field and scoring, 3 touchdowns today so far.
Mike St. Green points out in the chat, Houston's 0% hit rate on third down in this game. They're 50% on third down this season. Deep kick from Rose. Tough return here for Greg Corky, who runs backwards, shakes out of a hit, and somehow magically gets that to the 20-yard line, saving face somewhat there for Houston. So 0% for the Headhunters on third down in that first half. Fort Worth is pretty good against third down against league average, but Houston below league average in terms of success on third downs on the balance of the season. And again, failed to get any of them so far in this game. Just 4 total first downs in that first half for the Headhunters. So Dave Burr trying to right the ship. We'll toss it short. We've seen this play a lot so far today, Rochelle, and that's a different target on that play. Number 89, that's Tex Hunt. They've got 4 standout wide receivers, and that is not one of them. Gain of 4. Check that, gain of 7 for Tex Hunt. 89 in the white and gold. We've not seen anything from Greg Corky, Isaiah King IV, or either of the tight ends. Got 2 of them. Neither of them have targets. Wells. There's a first down. Nice run right up the middle. Houston moves the sticks.
It's a first down off the second down, though. Still no third down conversion.
Right. And just 4 first downs of any kind for Houston in that first half. So now they've got 5. Nice gain for G.P. Wells. And 7th in the league in rushing yards with over 1,100 before today. First down, Burr will fire into traffic and swatted away by E.K. Vincent. Could have been a pick. E.K. Vincent is a middle linebacker, Rochelle, and he's got crazy takeaway numbers this year. Couldn't pull that one in, though.
And once again, Burr's throwing in heavy traffic. Literally surrounded by defenders. Lucky he's not being picked off there.
I had to go double check myself. He's got 11 pass deflections and a pick this year, which is pretty good for a middle linebacker in this league. Could have had interception number 2 there. Set at second down. Split back set. Burr to throw, looking this way. Nicely done, right on the money for DR Sim. And a gain of 7 for the league vets. Here is the Fort Worth defense. Jeff Duffy, Luther Gahn, Jerry Degon, and Jabril Curse on the line. The linebackers, E.K. Vincent, J.L. Browning, and Noah Regier. And in the secondary, 4 safeties, Ben Stone, Delaney Nash, Doug Day, and Remington James. And the corners are Nacho Sicario and Adam Leach. Third down and 3. Burr to the top of the screen. First down, and the first third down conversion for the Headhunters in this game. Big surprise, DR Sim with the grab.
And finally, we get a first third down conversion here by Houston. Need to be celebrating a little bit here.
To be able to add points on the board, you figure they've got to convert third downs here or there, in my opinion. But either way, Houston starting to build a drive. Remember, their only points came on a quick strike. 66 yards on 2 plays to Sim and St. Green. 4-play drive in total. Wells shakes out of the hit, and G.P. Wells across the midfield stripe. Leach on the tackle. A nice gain of 7 for G.P. Wells.
And G.P. Wells is starting to put on a rushing show here. Been very active today in today's game.
Sure has. Close to 75 total yards. And over 1,400 total yards of offense this season. Second and 3. Burr throws behind his target, but it's caught. What a catch by St. Green, and he's down.
Oh, no.
Hit by E.K. Vincent after making an unreal catch. And this could be catastrophic for Houston.
I don't think he's getting up. See what happened here. Ooh. Number 1, E.K. Vincent just put a hit on him, and he's not getting up.
Well, our sideline reporters will be on it, and they will take a look at Mike St. Green. You see him there. It's been an excellent game for him, as we just mentioned, at that 46-yard touchdown. His 8th of the season, and now he has 4 catches. It looks like he's on the sideline at least for now after that hit from the veteran E.K. Vincent. From the 40, Burr's throw is caught. There's a nice grab for Greg Corky, who is now elevated to that number 2 spot, Rochelle, because of St. Green being on the sideline, and he has his first catch.
The good news is Houston does have 4 wide receivers, so they'll feel the hit, but not as badly if he didn't.
No doubt. Helps to soften the blow a little bit, you would think. Again, Corky has caught 2 touchdowns this season. 3rd on the team. The only player not named Simmer St. Green to catch one from Dave Burr. Wells with running room left tackle and a huge hole for G.P. Wells. Regier, the rookie linebacker, makes the stop, but another first down for G.P. Wells.
And Houston's putting together a pretty decent drive here themselves. Using Wells and their receivers, keeping their offense very, very balanced here.
This will be the 10th play of this drive for Houston. It's by far their longest of the game in terms of plays and yards. Fort Worth just had an 11-play drive, their last possession of that first half. The only other double-digit possession here in this game. From the 25, Burr will toss it out short. That's the fullback, John McCool, who has his 7th catch of the season, Rochelle, here in the last game of the regular season. Not used very much at all, but that's not a bad play for him. They get 3.
Yeah, and now you start to use everybody on their offense, including their fullback. Get everybody involved.
Sometimes if you got a roster shakeup, you got to dip down into the reserves. So McCool gets the catch. Only 2 carries for the fullback this year, and he will lead the way for Wells, who breaks through a tackle. Wells to the sideline. Touchdown. His 20th rushing touchdown this season. The longest drive of the day for the Headhunters ends in a score.
That time he had great blocking, number 85, tight end Talon Steele, with a huge block on number 41, Delaney Nash, and he was just end zone in front of him.
Good call by you, Rochelle, and we just mentioned all those players that have not been involved in the offense, at least in terms of catching the ball before this drive. Players like Steele, the tight end, McCool, the fullback, they both lead the way for G.P. Wells, who now has 20 rushing touchdowns this season. He rushed for 16 last year as a rookie, which was a great number, but he's 3rd in the league in rushing scores now here in Week 14. And looks featured to be a feature back for the Headhunters moving forward. PAT from Sonny J is up and good. What a game so far between these two crosstown rivals, Rochelle. We mentioned the all-time series is dead even. Fort Worth has won 4 of the first 7. Houston has won 3. And the Headhunters won a pretty lopsided matchup earlier this year, but now it all comes down to this for both of these sides. So much at stake for both teams, and it's been a good game so far.
Damon Simeon just said that Wells now owns a team record for rushing touchdowns in a single season.
Interesting. Beating out Warren Murray, I guess. I wouldn't have guessed that, Rochelle, but I'm going to trust Damon Simeon's knowledge of his team. And 20 rushing touchdowns is such a great mark for anybody in this league.
Because Warren Murray was with Houston for a very, very long time.
Yes.
I mean, he's like...
You're right. It was a standout for this team, for this franchise for a long time. Now, of course, with Baltimore. So now the G.P. Wells show. Sidearm sling for Marcus Dunhill. Robert Garrett Jr. just threw Kai Cash to the turf after making that catch. Yeehaw, indeed, Robert Garrett.
And the Cowboy just plugs his way through the defenders, dragging him with him.
Oh, man.
Which is one guy at the ground.
Poor Kai Cash, 6th season as a corner in this league. Not his first tour of duty with Houston, and he's back and might want to leave again after that, if that's what's going to happen. Jeez. Big gain for Garrett. He's been killer in this game. His 3rd catch of double-digit yards. From midfield, Dunhill lofts it up. There's a catch for Aaron Alexander. The fullback on the other side makes a play, Rochelle. Just his 9th catch this season, and good for a gain of maybe 1.
Yeah, all we're missing is bacon.
That statement is always true. It's a unique setup. Fort Worth has those 2-star tailbacks, but Bacon really does not get them any touches. They'll run it. This is Williams. Williams loses the ball. It's still on the ground, and who's got it? I think Houston's got it. Tom Tanner was there defensively. Corey Menner forced it. And the third lost fumble this season for Thrilliums if this stands.
43 got the big hit, like you said, Corey Menner.
Wow.
No challenge yet?
Another takeaway for this Headhunter defense. They have lived by that this season, like Rochelle mentioned earlier. 5th in the league in takeaways before today, 3rd in turnover differential. Only Baltimore and London are better than Houston at plus 12 before this week, the 2 best teams in the league. And now Houston will start from the other side of midfield. Wells breaks through the first wave and then gets stuck by Delaney Nash.
And Wells has definitely put on a rushing clinic here for us today. I mean, he's been unbelievable in the field.
How about this picking it up? I mean, we mentioned earlier in that first quarter when both Williams and Wells were averaging less than 3 yards per carry, but now unofficially Stephen Hacker and Zach Haldorf telling us that Wells is over 7 yards per carry in this game. He averages better than 6, and he's taken that a step further. Got 8 there. From the I formation and both tight ends into the lefts. And Wells is brought down that time. Great tackle by Luther Gond. It's the last week of the regular season, Rochelle, but to me this was one of the best offseason acquisitions by any team in the offseason. Gond was killer the last couple of seasons for the Louisiana Revolution. Comes over here. He's been good. He hasn't been outstanding for Fort Worth, but this is a number 1 defensive tackle, and he shows you why. Give him a TFL there, his 11th this season. 3rd down for Burr. Throws wide open. 1st down. Isaiah King IV has his 5th catch of the season, and that's good for another Headhunter 1st down.
It's good that their 4th receiver stepping up. He's down in the 3rd spot, making big plays at a very important time.
Just 4 catches for 61 yards for the rookie who was a 3rd-round pick from the Ottawa Cavalry. And to your point, Rochelle, the fact that they've got 4 standout wideouts on this team has helped them in the absence of St. Green. Wells on the give, nowhere to go. Guess who's there? Luther Gond with another stop.
And with a little help from J.L. Browning, to complete the tackle, but great job by the scorer's defense there.
Gond, in my estimation, was one of the best defensive tackles in the league the last couple of seasons with Louisiana. A former running back in the minor leagues, turned defensive lineman now here in the pros. And he's involved here on this possession. Burr will toss it out. Wells accelerates and ripped down from behind. Great hit by Ben Stone. Ooh. And there is the return on Mike St. Green. And Rochelle, he is done for the day.
He's done for the day, but, with our SFL doctors, will be back on the field next week.
And Houston, of course, hoping that next week has a playoff game for them and not a start to their summer, or at least their winter, I guess. 3rd and 7. Low snap, Burr will blast it, left sideline, rip down, DR Sim. They've lost their number 2 wideout, Rochelle, but the number 1 wide receiver in Houston history is still there. It's 1st and goal.
That time, Ben Stone found himself one-on-one with DR Sim. And DR Sim just got in front of him and came down with the ball. Great job there, great route.
Free safety, Ben Stone. We mentioned Kai Cash returning to this league. Stone was gone for a little bit too. He's back now in this Fort Worth backfield. They loved him off the field, wanted him on this team. And he's back. We got burned there by DR Sim. Wells will run it left tackle. Nice tackle. No gain, minimal gain, I should say. Noah Regier, rookie outside linebacker with the stop.
If Torres can hold Houston to 3 points here, it'd be a win for them.
Doubt. Fort Worth clinging to a 7-point lead. From the 7, here's Wells again. Tries to cut back, a couple of cuts from Wells, and he gets blown up by E.K. Vincent.
Yeah, Vincent's been all over the field tonight. He's just making some great plays. Tackle from behind at that.
Former outside linebacker a few seasons ago, now the middle linebacker here for the Toros. And a member of a linebacking corps I've called the Law Firm, with J.L. Browning and now Noah Regier joining the team. From the 4, Burr will throw it now. To the end zone, wide open, touchdown, Greg Corky. Stepping up in the absence of Mike St. Green, and Houston is a PAT away. No, out of bounds, they say.
What?
They ruled it out, Rochelle.
Let's see. Let's see the replay here.
Now, our first look at Ref 62, and it's for a scoring review. Rochelle, over to you. What did you see here?
I thought he was in, but let's look at the replay. Oh, no, he's in. He's in.
That seemed as clear-cut as possible. Here we go. Could be a crucial moment in this game.
Yeah, he's in.
There you go. And it's a delayed reaction for Houston, but now the reaction comes. Greg Corky has his third touchdown of the season, and now, a few moments later, Houston is a PAT away from a potential tie.
I'm not sure what happened because, I mean, Corky found himself all by himself there at the edge of the end zone with no defenders around him. Is he fooled the defense? I'm not sure, what the Toros saw there.
Second catch of this possession for Greg Corky after the injury to Mike St. Green. And a PAT from Sonny J, who has not missed a field goal this season. He's good on this PAT, and all of a sudden, Rochelle, we are all tied up at 21 apiece.
And for a while there, all the momentum was on Fort Worth's side, and all of a sudden things have shifted. Houston put together some long drives, long scoring drives at that.
I'm not going to lie, I'm terrible on those reviews. I do not get many of them correct in this league, but that one was about as clear-cut as possible. It sure looked like an easy touchdown for Corky, and it was. And Houston has rallied from down by 14 to tie this game up. Decent-looking return there for Charlie Baker, who has not had a lot of success returning kicks, at least not relatively to what Corky has done, but he gets Fort Worth out to the 26-yard line. So what does Fort Worth do here, Rochelle? We mentioned how varied their offense was in the first half, but they barely had the ball here in the second half.
Very true. Houston's doing a good job of using the clock in their favor. I think we need to see a little bit more Williams, a little bit more Hacker, maybe some, middle of the field throws to Garrett.
It's worked for them a lot this game already. Dunhill's going to throw it right sideline. Had Stevens with a step, but Kai Cash able to rally back and swat it away.
I like the aggressiveness of Fort Worth. They need to score here, but they need to be careful with the ball too.
Cash has intercepted 6 passes this season. 2 of them came in the first meeting this season against Fort Worth. Remember, they picked off Marcus Dunhill 5 times. He's thrown 28 interceptions in this season. It's top 10 in the league in terms of most picks. They'll run it. Jason Williams up the middle, right down the middle of the fields. Cash is there again for the stop along with Rowe. And a nice gain on second down for J. Will.
And Cash is just doing it all tonight.
Take it to the bank with Kai Cash. There's a look at Jason Peace, one of the many new members of this Houston defense. Was their first round pick from Albuquerque, 11th overall. Try to stop Williams, who runs into the offensive line and then gets stood up. Completely clogged up that time on third down, and he's brought down by Markov, KT Slayer, and it's fourth down for the Toros.
What a huge defensive stand here by Houston. Forcing the Toros to punt. They're 3 and out.
Right after the Headhunters score to tie the game, Fort Worth not able to do anything. 3 and out indeed. The veteran Ray Einhorn ready for it. Corky ready to return for Houston, and he will call for and make the fair catch. The SFL Minor League is about to begin. Games kick off on Friday, October 14th on SFL YouTube, and it's not too late to create your player and get him or her involved in the next rookie class. Season 20's rookie draft takes place December 17th and 18th, so don't miss your chance. The sooner you create your player, the better your player will be on draft day. For more information, visit simulationfl.net. Rochelle and I both noted fans of the SFL minor leagues. Excited to see that get back up and running. Dave Burr, a graduate of the minor leagues, throws it up, and there's the first catch by a tight end today. Talon Steele has it in a gain of 9. First catch for a Houston tight end, I should say.
He did a good job of getting the extra yards after the catch. He just powered his way for a couple more yards.
Former Jacksonville King. Talon Steele in his first season as the #1 tight end for Houston. Just over 200 receiving yards on the campaign for him. Gain of 9 there. They'll run it. All kinds of room for Wells. Then he gets stood up. Looked like he had space, Ray, but Toro's able to stop him after a gain of maybe 2. Regier with the hit.
Regier did a great job of, great closing speed there. Get to Wells, but a little too late and got the first down anyway.
All Houston in that third quarter. They trailed by 14 at the start, and over the next 11 minutes, they have rallied all the way back. We're tied at 21 apiece. SFL presented by APM Music live on YouTube. Happy to have you with us alongside the great Rochelle Colston with Stephen Hacker, Zach Aldorf, Cameron Irvine behind the scenes. I'm Tim Hackett. Thanks for joining us the first of 4 games here on the final day of the SFL regular season. GP Wells gets the toss, the spin move from GP Wells, and a gain of 13 out across midfield.
What a great block there by number 69. They free Wells up a little bit and get him, extra yardage out of that.
That is Sambo Billy Bob leading the way for Houston.
Sambo Billy Bob.
I was hoping we wouldn't have to talk about it, but of course we ended up having to talk about it. There's Wells' day, 5.5 yards per carry and just under 100 rushing yards. Figured that might change even on this play. From just over enemy territory. They will throw it. Burr, sliding catch is made by Corky, and now a flag comes in. Yeah, late hit for sure.
And that's just a little bit of the Toro's frustration there coming out.
And a late hit is indeed the call. First penalty on either team on the second play of the fourth quarter, Rochelle. And E.K. Vinson, who was the one who injured Mike St. Green earlier, unintentionally obviously, but he's going to be guilty of that late hit as well.
Yeah, Houston had a little bit of a penalty problem last week in their game where they had 6 offside penalties, so they're doing a good job of, being disciplined today.
And one of the league's best sacking teams, Houston. Probably a little bit overzealous last week. Hasn't happened for him here. Here's Wells. He's now over 100 yards, right on cue. Browning with the hits and a gain of 5.
Yeah, Fort Worth needs to find an answer for Wells. I mean, he's just having too good of a day. He get 4 and 5 yards at a time, and it's about the first time since the beginning of the second half, he's been having a great game.
Close to 150 all-purpose yards now in this game for Wells. It's close to 1,500 all-purpose yards this season. Burr will throw to the end zone. Diving catch.
Another late hit.
Touchdown, DR Sim. And Houston has the lead with a flag.
Dang it. I mean, DR Sim just shot down the middle of the field, had himself wide open, and a great pass, and late hit to boot.
Ben Stone guilty of that one. Second late hit in a couple of plays for Fort Worth. This one won't matter. DR Sim has another house call, another touchdown, his 8th this season.
The doctor is in the end zone.
Houston has the lead for the first time today. Fort Worth was up 14-0 and then 21-7. And the Headhunters have rallied now to score 3 straight touchdowns. On every possession here in the second half. PAT from Jay is good. 21 straight from Houston, looking to lock up a playoff bid for good against their division rivals. And now it's the Headhunters who are ahead above.
And that was a 6-play drive for 61 yards. He had 2 run plays, 3 passing plays, where he was 3 for 3. Result was a touchdown.
And by contrast, the 6 plays on that drive, as you say, Rochelle, Fort Worth has held the ball for 7 plays in this half. That's it. 7 total plays on offense, leading 21-7 and now down for the first time in this game. Baker gets them out to the 20. That first Fort Worth possession ended in a fumble for Jason Williams, his 3rd of the season. That ended up in a touchdown from Dave Burr. And then a punt, a 3-and-out from Fort Worth on their next possession. That resulted in that touchdown that you just saw from Burr to DR Sim. They link up for the 8th time this season. With no Mike St. Green, no problem.
Also, there's not having 4 wide receivers on your team.
No gain there for Jason Williams. And you mentioned that Wells has had a great game. You see the numbers there, now safely over 100 yards. Williams has done very little since he scored that touchdown in the first quarter.
Like, Fort Worth's going to live or die by him, so you can't get him going. They're going to die.
He's 5th in the league in carries. Dunhill is 23rd in a 28-team league in pass attempts. Averages 35 per game. Figure he might need to pass it a lot here. They will run it. Williams with a running room, right tackle. And that's how you live by Jason Williams. He gets them across the 40.
I think that was a little bit of commentator's curse there for Houston.
I'll accept it. I'll allow it. It's my judgment call. And a nice run for Williams. That almost doubles his total on the day.
Great open field tackle there by outside linebacker Keenan Samuel.
Gave him 22 on that give. From the 42, weird throw from Dunhill. It's caught, and a short gain there for Williams. Another tackle for Keenan Samuels. I'm a huge fan of Samuels, Rochelle. I say it all the time that I see him. He started off with Jacksonville, then was with Baltimore. Last season was with St. Louis. So this is now his 4th season with 4 different teams. And it seems like no matter what uniform he wears, he's able to make an impact.
Yeah, I mean, in SFL, you're a free agent every season. You're allowed to go wherever you want to go. Some players have to go to different teams. That's the waters.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with it. I think it's worked for him clearly, and he's worked himself into a nice role here for Houston as Slayer makes that stop. 2nd season here with Houston, 6th season in the league for KT Slayer, and Samuels has carved out a nice role as the number 1 outside linebacker for a team that now is in the driver's seat to lock up a playoff spot with a win here this afternoon. Empty set on 3rd down. Dunhill zips it, and it's dropped.
What?
Tipped into the air. Oh, my goodness. What was that? It was a drop from Robert Garrett, first of all, and then I have no idea what to call it from there. It's 4th down at the end of the day.
Potato?
Yeah, I guess.
Nobody wanted to catch that ball, obviously.
All that ball wanted was to be caught. Its dreams have been dashed. And so too has this Fort Worth drive.
Yeah, if you're Fort Worth, you should be a little concerned. Your defense is tired. They've been on the field a lot in the second half, and you're putting them right back on the field.
Fair catch here from Corky. And yeah, I mean, Houston, as we mentioned, is one of the best scoring teams in the league. 4th in points per game before today with better than 31, and they've scored 21 straight now here all after halftime. So, yeah, you better believe this Toro defense is tired. Right back out there they go. 7 in the box for the Toros. Split backs in the holster set for Dave Burr. He'll toss it this way, and a diving catch made by Greg Corky. That'll work. His 4th grab all after halftime.
And that's just the offense taking what the defense is giving them there. They're stacking the box, the out routes are now open.
Corky is one of the veterans on this team. We mentioned they have so many new players. You have to really look closely to find somebody who's been on this team for 5 or more seasons. Corky is one of the few, along with DR Sim and Alex Perez. 6th season on the team. He'll toss it out. Running room for Wells. Spins and is given the first down. Hit by Sicario right at that magic yellow line. Gain of 5.
Houston just seems to be continuing to do what they've been doing all the second half. Moving the ball down the field methodically.
How about this from Cameron Irvine? Dave Burr has now completed his last 15 passes. 82%. He'll check it down again. That'll help that completion percentage.
Wow.
And that won't help the yards per attempt, though, as well somehow is able to turn what looked like a gain of nothing into a gain of 3.
And it looks like a loss to a gain of 3. I mean, they hit him 2 or 3 times, and he just kept moving forward.
16 straight completions now for Dave Burr, who's one of the worst completion percentages among all SFL quarterbacks this season, 68%, which sounds good, but it's 23rd out of 28 league quarterbacks, and he's up over 80% here this afternoon. Same play, toss it out to Wells, and Wells stood up. Gain of 1, E.K. Vincent with another hit.
E.K. Vincent's been all over their field tonight, and they need to come up with a big stop here on 3rd and 6. the ball back to their offense.
Zach Aldorf and Stephen Hacker have Vincent now with 7 tackles. You don't track injured players in this league, but one knockout blow against Mike St. Green as well. And 1 late hit. A toss! Wells blown up in the backfields.
Yeah, those toss plays don't always work so well here in the SFL. Know that from experience.
Wow. It's the first time we've seen that in this game, Rochelle, and Fort Worth was ready for it. Great stop by a pair of Toros, including Jeff Duffy.
This is what the Toros needed. They have like 4 minutes and 50 seconds left in the game. They got to score on this drive.
Foster with the punt, returnable for Baker, who then gets stood up. Nothing in the return game for either team today. The 19th edition of the SFL playoffs begin next Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and you can catch postseason action on Next Level Sports. Matchups and a complete list of network coverage for the postseason to be determined. Follow the SFL on Twitter at SimulationFL for up-to-date details when available. For a channel guide and more info about Next Level Sports, visit NLSE.com. Fort Worth with the ball trailing once again, and up the middle they'll run it to Jason Williams. KT Slayer with another tackle.
Fort Worth sticking to their game plan to use Williams, and they continue to do so.
And it's something they've done a lot. Williams 5th in the league in carries, 13th in the league in yards, top 15 in touchdowns, now has 10 this season. He's carried the ball 20 times in this game compared to 26 throws for Marcus Dunhill. Dunhill will throw here on 2nd down, looking for Williams. High throw, catch is made, and spun down. Corey Menner with the stop.
Houston remains, continues to keep Williams in check.
Well, Houston locked him down when these two teams met in Houston earlier this season. Williams rushed 20 times for 35 yards. A lot better for him today, but he's off the field on 3rd down as Dunhill's pass is tipped and picked off. And back the other way goes Josh Rowe, who has his 11th interception of the season. 30 yards away from his 3rd touchdown of the year, and that could spell danger for Dunhill and Fort Worth.
And they ran the all-slant play. They flooded all the receivers to the middle of the field, and the defenders were sitting in the middle of the field waiting for him. Well, pass deflection and interception, and Houston ball.
Oh, this guy burst onto the scene a season ago, Rochelle. Just his 2nd season in the league and became quite probably the best safety in the league. You know a thing or two about good safety play in this league. You've been one for years. But Rowe just took the league by storm last season. All-star appearance, postseason accolades, and he's back at it again this year. Wells with the toss, and he gets blown up. Great hit in the backfield by Nacho Sicario.
And Nacho Sicario just came out of nowhere and from his cornerback position to make a great big hit on EP Wells in the backfield.
5th TFL of the season for the league veteran, Nacho Sicario. You mentioned he came over with Stephen Hacker from Queen City a few seasons ago to create Fort Worth. Had some struggles immediately and then playoffs in their 2nd season. 7 total wins the last 2 seasons, 7 wins already this season. Looking for number 8 and a chance at a 1st-round bye. Burr lofts it right sideline and ripped away. Sicario has another one, and this is returnable. And a tackle made on Nacho Sicario. Dueling interceptions for these two QBs here in the 4th quarter. That one saved a touchdown. Fort Worth stays alive in this game.
And now it's getting to the point where Fort Worth's got to buckle down. They got to put a drive together. They have to score. They're in trouble.
Well, is it too soon to say, Rochelle, that if that was St. Green back there instead of Corky, maybe something different happens?
I don't know. I mean, Sicario had put himself in a great position to defend that play, and the ball was maybe a little bit underthrown, and I don't really know about the answer to that question.
It wasn't the play that was needed, that's for sure. The chat is not pleased by the play call and the decision from Dave Burr. It gives Fort Worth a chance. Dunhill, that's on the money. Great throw. Baker with the catch, his 3rd of the game.
Now we're in a hurry-up offense.
So Fort Worth did this in the 1st half to some success. Empty set. No Williams in the backfield. Dunhill to throw. Stevens with that catch. First catch in a long time for Cade Stevens. It's his first catch of this second half, actually, and a gain of about 6.
He got out of bounds and stopped the clock. Do a little playbook and see what they come up with now.
There just aren't that many yards left on the field for Cade Stevens, who, unless he absolutely goes off here in this drive, might finish just under 1,000 yards. He's never had a 1,000-yard season. Was 113 away from that before today. He's about halfway to that mark. Got about 60 yards unofficially in this game. From the 45. Dunhill into traffic again. Swatted and dropped. Stevens almost had that one on the deflection.
I thought he was going to catch it on the deflection. That was a very dangerous pass, though, by Dunhill.
How many times have we seen that from Marcus Dunhill in this game? We just saw him get picked off on a play like that, and literally not even 2 minutes ago, and he nearly has to pay for it again.
He's very lucky there.
There's a look at Dedrick Law, second-year nickelback for Houston. They bring in the dime back as well. That's Angel Maldonado. Third down. Dunhill's pass is caught. Brought in by Mike Caker, who has his second catch for a first down in this game.
They're in gun straight open still.
They run it out. 4 wides. Dunhill throws it short. Caker again with the catch. That won't go for a first down, but it will go for 7. Coming up to the 2-minute warning. Do they snap it? They do before the 2-minute warning. Dunhill's got players open, and Caker drops it. It hit Mike Caker in the shoulder pad. And the magic runs out for now for the veteran Mike Caker. 2 minutes and counting left in regulation. A ton on the line between these two Texas rivals. This is the SFL presented by APM Music live on YouTube. Happy to have you with us. What a game we've got so far. Tim Hackett and Rochelle Colston here in the booth. Stephen Hacker and Zach Haldorf in the truck. 3rd down and 3 for Fort Worth. Trips to the top. Williams in the backfield. Dunhill goes this way, and it's caught. First down inbounds, they say. Robert Garrett Jr. with another big-time catch.
That time they got the first down. Garrett got out of bounds, stops the clock. But, the clock's not really a problem at this point. They have all 3 timeouts. They have 2 minutes, Basically to settle down and score here. And not give...
Go ahead, Ray.
And burn as much clock as they can.
No doubt.
Not give Houston the ball back.
And we know how big this Houston offense can be. Already seen it plenty of times in this game. Different formation here. From the holster set, Dunhill will throw wide open. Check that. It's a gain of 6 on first down for Cade Stevens, who is working on a career season. Already a career high in receiving yards, now close to 950 this year.
Surprisingly, on this drive, we have not seen Jason Williams.
Good call. He was just on the field on that play, but he has not been involved.
We'll see him here, though.
Look at Houston pack this line. Stevens went out of bounds, stopping the clock. Dunhill will throw. There is Williams out of the backfield. First down for Jason Williams. He's fresh, I guess, Rochelle. And a gain of 5, tackled by Cash.
Number 69 up front, gave him a little bit of a block to allow him to get the first down there.
Over 100 total yards for Williams. Not bad, seeing as he was held to under 50 total yards when these two teams played in Houston in Week 4. That was a 20-plus point win for the Headhunters. They were red hot then. Since then, Fort Worth really started to take off. The Toros trying to play catch up here today. Dunhill. Oh, what a pass! Right on the money. Robert Garrett Jr. stopped right outside the 10.
Robert Garrett just placed himself in between defenders, and Marcus Dunhill threw a rocket throw to him and was down. Fort Worth's knocking on the door here.
That link-up has been money so far in this game. You see it there. 6 catches for RGJ, just south of 100 yards. The goal line will give Fort Worth a first down. Dunhill this way. Garrett's got another catch. He's up over 100 yards now. His 3rd catch on this 4th quarter drive.
And the Cowboy strikes again.
10-gallon hat and all. That is a 10-gallon level catch for Garrett. Caught his 3rd touchdown of the season earlier today. And Fort Worth has been shut out here in the second half. Dunhill's been picked off twice in this game. 30 interceptions thrown this season for the Hall of Famer. Can he rally the troops? Dunhill to the end zone. Caught! Stephen Hacker strikes again, and Fort Worth is a PAT away from tying this thing back up.
How more exciting can this game become? I mean, Hacker just marks it in the end zone. Marcus Dunhill makes a great catch, great pass, and Hacker, beats his defender number 56, Zed Markov, and touchdown Toros.
You mentioned the linebackers in coverage as a mismatch earlier this game, talking about Garrett. He's exploited those matchups in his career. Hacker does it that time. You said it, Ray. Zed Markov, the linebacker, was the only player left in coverage, and Hacker makes his second touchdown catch in the back of the end zone in this game. And Amelia Rose does the job. We are tied at 28 apiece. Fort Worth scores for the first time since halftime, and the Toros have leveled the score. But to your point earlier in this possession, Ray, there's 69 seconds on the clock right now, and Houston has a big offense and 3 timeouts. Could be danger for Fort Worth.
That's it, good. And then, like you said before, the defense on Fort Worth is kind of tired at this point. They've been on the field a lot this half.
No doubts. They've given up 21 points already, but picked off Dave Burr on their most recent possession. And so Houston will start off from the 26. The Headhunters know what's at stake. That's Isaiah King on the returns now, by the way, since Corky has been elevated to the number 2 receiver. That puts everybody up in the depth chart. King returning that kick for the Headhunters. Houston knows what's at stake. If they win, they are in for good into the postseason. In season 19, they haven't made the postseason since season 15. 3 straight years out. Dave Burr trying to get them in for good, and that pass is offline. Talon Steele on the targets. Not sure what happened with that connection. It was just way offline.
I'm not sure either. I mean, he was, open in the middle of the field, and there was, ball was thrown very near him.
Talon only 24 catches this season, counting one earlier today. Not haul that one in. So second down now. 1:02 left in regulation. Empty back, so no GP Wells here. First throw nearly picked off by Vincent. He read that beautifully, Rochelle.
I think he was just sitting back, watching the quarterback's eyes, knew where the ball was going, and made a great play on the ball. Lucky that wasn't intercepted.
And it bears repeating that Vincent was the one who knocked out Mike St. Green earlier. He's got a back injury and is not likely to return to this game, so no St. Green. Greg Corky is the team's number 2 wideout and has already caught a touchdown. So has DR Sim, who's at the top of the screen. Burr will throw it down the middle. Sim across midfield and to the Fort Worth 44. Another big-time catch for DR Sim. The league's all-time leader in receiving yards adds a few more.
There's a reason why he's a Hall of Famer here, and he's another great catch. He gets behind the secondary of Fort Worth.
A platinum-level play for DR Sim. Step up from Diamond, and he's across midfield. 25 yards on that gain, says the stats team. Yet another highlight in DR Sim's legendary career. Houston called a timeout there, by the way, so the clock stopped with 54 seconds.
They have plenty of time, Tim. Time is not an issue.
First throw was going for King, and King looked like he was held up a little bit, Rochelle, by Doug Day. They were the only 2 players there, and I have no idea how King didn't get out of his break.
I'm not really sure what happened there either.
Well, it's far be it for me to assume there's a penalty if no one is going to prove that. No one should do that. It's kind of poor form, even though that's what I just did. And Day is going to be able to walk away unscathed. Second down. Burr's completion percentage is plummeted here in this quarter. He'll throw it again. Diving catch. Another big gain. DR Sim with another grab inside the 25.
You need a big play in this game. You throw the ball at DR Sim.
That one good for 20. Burr will check it down. Wells back in and stood up by Regier. A loss on that play.
And if you're Houston, you really don't want to I just run the ball at this point. You don't want to get kicked out of field goal range with a sack.
They've got a perfect kicker this year. Why force the issue? That's a nice catch by Talon Steele. Catch on the run and a gain of 9. And now Fort Worth wises up. They will call a timeout. That's their first.
You have 18 seconds left, and you're in field goal range. At what point do you kick it?
I'll ask you the same question. I mean, typically we see teams kick it with less than 15 seconds, right? So maybe one more play?
Yeah, and to me, it should be a run play. You don't want to chance a sack here.
You've got a running back with over 100 yards on the ground so far. So they'll go offset I with McCool as the fullback. And Wells in his first year with Houston gets the give and running room for Wells. Spin move for Wells and taken down by Regier at the 1 yard line. Timeout Toros. They have 1 left and GP Wells sets the Headhunters up beautifully.
Hey, do you go for the touchdown here or do you kick the field goal?
Ooh. Well, Fort Worth can stop the clock once if Houston tries to stall. I see what you mean, though, but typically in this league, to your point, they'll typically just punt, if you will, and go for the field goal immediately, and that's what they'll do. First and goal from the 1, and Sonny J will come out for a field goal, the first by either team today. One of just a handful of league kickers to have not missed a field goal this season, and Jay is good from 17. He is 24 of 24, and Houston is back in front with only 10 seconds left.
You're Fort Worth now. You have 1 timeout and 10 seconds.
Well, the stakes are clear. Fort Worth knows they're into the postseason even with a loss. But where in the postseason will they be? Will they play here at the Stockyards again here in season 19? All to be determined. Charlie Baker with this return. Out to the 23 and no further, and that took 5 seconds off the clock, Rochelle, so Fort Worth might only have 1 play.
And I have no idea what you do from your own 23 with 1 play. You mean you're out of Hail Mary range? Guess you can give it to 3 of them, see if we can break some tackles.
Yeah, way out of range for Dunhill. Maybe they have a chance to get a quick hitter to Cade Stevens, which has worked for them in this game, to get them a few and then start again. Marcus Dunhill, the Hall of Famer from his own 23. He will bomb it down the sideline. It's caught by Stephen Hacker, but he stays in bounds, and that's the game. Hacker is stopped in bounds. Houston sweeps the regular season series, and the Headhunters don't capitulate. They're into the playoffs for the first time since season 15.
This has basically been a game of 2 halves. I mean, Fort Worth dominated the first half of this game, and basically Houston did the same in the second half.
No doubt. 21-7 Fort Worth at the halftime break. Second half scoreline, 24-7 Houston. And they flip it right around. This was a close game, Rochelle. We mentioned when these two teams met earlier this year, lopsided win for the Headhunters. They win by 20+. Today they win by 3. This fumble from Jason Williams was a huge turning point in this game. Tom Tanner recovered it. Houston then scored on this touchdown throw from Burr. Check that. That's the entry pass to DR Sim, and then they score a minute after that. And that helped turn this game on its head. 21 unanswered for Houston to tie the game. Here is that touchdown pass from Burr to Greg Corky. And even without Mike St. Green, Houston rallies back from down by 14, and they win it to lock up a playoff spot in the last game of the regular season.
And kudos to Jack Stata. They had this game as a 3.5 difference, and it was just about that. I mean, can't get any closer than this.
Well, Houston knows that they'll be on the road in week 1 of the playoffs starting next weekend in the wild card round. Fort Worth had a chance to win this South Division if they win today and Mexico City loses later on tonight. That's out the window. So now the Toros have no idea where they'll be playing. Again, they could have been anywhere in this postseason picture. There will be 12 teams in the playoffs starting next week. Fort Worth could be seeded anywhere from 4 to 12 before today. And now with that loss, they'll very likely be on the road in the wild card round. But still, Rochelle, it can't be lost on the fact that these two teams have both missed the playoffs the last 2 years, and they will both be in the playoffs now here in Season 19. And to go a step further, there's every chance that all 4 South Division teams will be in the playoffs here in Season 19. That'll be the first time in league history if that happens.
Honestly, could still happen.
It sure could. If Lone Star wins this evening, all 4 South Division teams will be going dancing. Dave Burr, the player of the game, helping lead that second half comeback and lead Houston into the postseason for the first time in his pro career. Rochelle Colston, your final thoughts.
Yes, there's a game in 2 halves. GP Wells really stepped up today, had a great game. Carr had a decent game and player of the game. But you never knew what's going to happen from quarter to quarter in this game. So
Houston turns it around to get back into the postseason for the first time since Season 15. For Cameron Irvine, Zach Halldorf, Stephen Hacker, and my partner Rochelle Colston, I've been Tim Hackett. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Until then, so long. Plenty more action comes your way across the SFL network later on tonight.
stay tuned, you don't want to miss it.